All right, guys, welcome back to Larry Buys Houses, your number one resource for wholesaling here in Canada, especially and the human nature business, sales, real estate, any sort of negotiation. People are what we're playing, what we're playing in the business of human nature. So, one of the books that started um, me on this path was Money People Deal. Stefan said, "Buy this book from me, read it, and you can come back be my acquisitions person." So took the book home, read it overnight, came back. I think it was the next day or the day after. And yeah, just started working right there. It took me 8 weeks to get my first deal and 9 deals in 9 weeks on the next run there. So this chapter here, particularly laying brick or building a cathedral, when I was working at the beginning, I didn't have my own vision of what it was. I was working within the company vision. And, as a leader, let's say you're running a bunch of people or you've got some VAs and things like that. The number of people that you're leading and how you're leading them for what you're building. And if they don't have any particular vision of their own, then, getting them on board and helping them build that. But we'll talk tonight about three main things. One is vision boards and why they're important. And then the work that we do and how we do it will determine how it fulfills us. And having a particular view on what you do, regardless of what you do, can help you be really successful at whatever it is that you do. I remember Carpenter Johnny, what is it? The elephant. I don't care what it is that you do. If you're the shit shoveler at the elephant at the circus, if just be the best one you could be. So so vision, the work, the cathedral, and then we'll dive into those. So the first one really is that people who've done amazing things, and if you want to do amazing things, you have to see the world in a different way. And so whether that's in the task that you're doing or really with the scale in which you envision, there's a section here that says, I think it's on page 88. So where is it? Steve Jobs here. Vision plan. Well, let's talk about the three main ones that he talks about. He says Henry Ford with the vision of everyone in America owning an automobile and how he was able to execute that vision. Steve Jobs hoping that everyone in the world would be operating a computer that was easy and delightful to use. Mark Zuckerberg creating a network of connecting everyone in the world easily and efficiently through social media. All of these men had great visions that preceded their innovations, and they all changed the world. Imagination is more important than knowledge, yes, especially if you're trying to have a visionary. Because sometimes in our businesses, we can not have a larger vision, and that will have you repeating the same year over and over and over again. So having that vision built out, and we'll get into vision plans here, but essentially this is the laying the brick or building a cathedral. So the story is that there's these two identical men performing an identical task in an identical way, but one is energized and overjoyed while the other is miserable and depressed. So when you look at that particularly with both of them are building a cathedral. Maybe one is actually his cathedral and the other guy's working on the cathedral, right? And he might not even be thinking about cathedral level vision. He might just be thinking about the monotonous task of laying brick, which is one of the ways we want to visualize how we build our own cathedrals is like, we'll get into the tactical knowledge at the end of this thing here a little bit. So both had vision, and the two example, one can see the lines of a cathedral in his vision. And this man feels like he's contributing to a larger mission and a beautiful creation. The other man can only see brick and mortar. Each brick he lays is painful. His body is exhausted. He works like a slave. So both of them are doing the same job the same way and have the same amount of ownership in this cathedral. But one is seeing the cathedral that is being built, and one is seeing the bricks that have to be laid. And how you approach that thing ultimately will determine how long you can maintain what it is you're doing, if it's a monotonous, grindy kind of task. And then two, if you have to do that, what you're going to feel like after you do that versus what the other person feels like at the end of the day. Because we all have to do some sort of work. We all have to physically manipulate this physical realm as men typically to make things happen. And so you can either look at it one way or the other, and both have to do the same job, but one is energized at the end of the day and the other is exhausted, both with just a different vision and a a process to get there. So Stefan says here, and we did this a couple times, and especially in the best self thing here is, um, it goes, I recently hired a coach to take my life and business to the next level. The first thing my coach had me do was fill out my vision board. I I was unprepared for a vision board because I had not spent much time creating a vision for my business and myself. After being assigned to create a vision, I started to spend serious time constructing the vision that would fuel my life and my business. What do I want my life to look like? What do I want my home to look like? What do I want my health to look like? What do I want my bank account to look like? And what do I want my work day to look like? And these ultimately will get you that general general like satisfaction of hitting a target or aspiring to hit that target. Because when you look at all of these things, if you don't make a vision, you will do what is happening around you. Where is it here? Right here. After becoming after becoming more conscious of vision and spending some time of creating my own vision plan, I realized we all have two very different versions of what we want our lives to look like. Sadly, though, most people have no vision at all for their lives and just accept whatever comes easily to them. And what's really important about this line is in vision, what is easily done is averagely done with an average result of what is done. So when you look at your vision, um, you do want to be doing what usually you call in this sort of work, impulsively dreaming about your vision board, because there's no reason that you should, at this point of your vision board, be putting any limits. If you're, you know, really out of shape in your own opinion, and you put the most in shape person up on your board, it's not impossible or insane to have it up there. How long that takes to get there is up to you. But whatever you put on there, you can probably achieve. So if you're like, I want to look even bigger, I want to keep eating, and you just had this like crazy vision board that spiraled you down into like your negative vision board, right? That may be an interesting concept too, to look at a negative image board to say like, this is what I want and this is what I don't want. Um, but more importantly, what we want, because that's usually more clear to define. Sometimes it's easy to because usually the second step in a vision board is, now that you've identified what you want, what is kind of like impossible right away? Because we want to start getting down to actionable things. So it says right here on the last page, people with the strongest visions are the leaders in all facets of life. Visionaries like Steve Jobs, Gandhi, and Gandhi, I don't know why I pronounced it that way, and Henry Ford all saw the world differently and worked towards their visions. Through a powerful vision, reverse engineering of that vision into a blueprint, and execution of the small actionable steps of that blueprint, the world can be changed one brick at a time. The future belongs to those of us with strong visions, clear blueprints for achieving the vision, and a specific plan of daily actionable steps. And that's you're going to be your bricks in the cathedral. So one, we talked about the difference between the bricklayer and the cathedral builder, and where the vision allows you to have happiness within something that can be monotonous, like laying brick. Two, we're talking about vision plans and how to create them. Become impulsively dreaming, and don't limit yourself when creating a vision for your future. Set exactly what you want on there without, you know, editing it at all. If you want that, put it on there because it's a target that you want to go towards. Kind of like with training and reading and surrounding yourself with the right people, you can get closer and closer to that. And it might even change. Your vision board might change. You might have to I don't really want that Jeep Grand Cherokee anymore. I was thinking about my vision board. I really like Jeep Grand Cherokees, right? And I was thinking, it'd be nice to have like a $43,000 black Jeep Grand Cherokee in great shape with low mileages in the year that I want. And I'd put that on the board. Um, and maybe I should shoot for that, have that on there and work towards it. But we can fall off track with the people around us, the training we have, the mindset can, like the bumpers at easy bowling, can take you all the way down. But if you have no one around you and you're not invested in education, you're not invested in reading, you're going to end up just falling into the gutter, and it's going to be like, oh, I failed again and I have to restart on some other business. So when you do that, you want to be surrounding yourselves. Like the first thing that Stefan's coach is having him do is building that vision plan. Because there's this really powerful quote that runs all over the place for me and has always been true, is a man without a plan for the future returns to his past. So the vision that you have currently, you already have without having to have created it. It exists, your current existence. And the vision for the future, without it, you will continue to grasp onto your current existence. If you don't make any plans around what you currently do, you'll just be that person who goes home and, Netflix and broke. So change the target, or at least have one. Because the first step of getting anywhere is like having a destination. And I remember I have this friend of mine who's done really well with grant funding and built these like $1 million businesses. And one thing he always said to me was, when when you get in the car, you don't really go driving unless that's the destination, which is to drive around, because you don't just get in the car unless that was the destination. So when you're going somewhere, you either are there because you don't care where you're going, or you pick a thing and you put it in your GPS and you go there. And that's the vision, your GPS for your future. So now that we have an understanding where the vision is actually pulling you towards and directing you, and is turn left here and turn right there, and that's the fastest route to your vision plan. That's your mentors, your people that you surround yourself with, the books you read, the things you listen to, um, keeping you on that GPS to where you want to go. And then now, how do we build out the action steps from our vision board? How do we break down owning that car into small daily actionable steps? Well, one would be to like understand that that type of vehicle needs a certain amount of down payment to be something that we get. So we need to start like saving for that thing, putting money aside, or figuring out how to finance it and getting it sooner. Like, you might not be able to finance that brand new vehicle today, but by going and finding out what it actually costs and doing the research, which costs you nothing and creates far more vision, you'll now know that the lease payment is $1,297 a month with a $3,000 down payment and a credit score of 600 or more. But not if you don't break down the actionable steps of, okay, look at my whole vision board. First question, what does it cost in time or money to get that? Because if you look at your fitness on a goal, your body, there's no amount of money that's going to get that thing. It's primarily going to be the amount of time that you can commit and dedicate properly with some financial spend on like maybe a membership and things like that. But these are actionable. So like you look at the fitness that you've chosen. Maybe you want to be really thin, like a swimmer. So now you know at least one step. You're not trying to go to the gym, you're trying to go to the pool. So find out what the pool membership is and just make some things, A, B, C. On each of these things on your vision board, you look at it and you say, I want to go to this destination on vacation. How much, what is all involved? Do I have to get vaccinations to go to that country? Yes. So you should get them to go one step forward so you're ready. Do I need a passport? Do I have a passport? No, put that on the list. And so all of your board, your vision board, can be broken down into ABCs on all of these things. You want to own a restaurant or something. That can be broken down to like the research of the research involved in attaining that. Because sometimes it's not as far away as we perceive them to be, especially when we break it down. Because when you look at the Jeep Grand Cherokee and the $1,200 a month lease payment, well, at first you might look at it and go, that vehicle's retail cost, I'm guessing, is $45,000. Now, I've done a couple of things already to put that almost like an impossibility. See, I don't have $45,000, so never mind. And I don't even know if it's $45,000. That's my feeling about it. So it's on the board and I diminish myself out of owning that thing. Or I break it down into the smallest actionable steps on these things all the time. And as soon as you've figured out the cost and all that stuff, like write it on the board, look at it and plan on it and, do a little calculation that says, it's going to take 6 months at $250 into this bank account to do this by this date. And all of these things continue to change. Maybe like you actually realize you don't like swimming. So you're like, I don't like being wet all the time. I'm just going to go to the gym. So you change the picture and you find a different gym and you do it all again. And you get a little bit more specific equipment because you're actually further ahead than where you started. Because the interesting thing about momentum and really important when wholesaling and when I train people when we're doing one-on-one training is that I want you to fail forward. I want you to have momentum forward. So even if you fall, you end up further ahead and you stand up and it might take you a second to get back up. But where you land is going to be far further ahead in this business than if you're standing still. So the core with the training that I do with the people that count on me to keep them moving forward is getting them moving forward, breaking down the walls around these actionable steps, these small things that can get you moving. And if you crash out forward, you're heading forward. You only fall backwards if you were walking backwards out the door of the idea anyway. You're like, oh, I don't think real estate's for me. Whoa. And I cost myself 10 grand because I'm not paying attention to what's going on. Hustle forward, fall forward, stand up even further than where you were, get back up, start running, fall forward again and get far further than standing around thinking maybe I should get a trainer or maybe I should go to the gym or that truck is too expensive or that that vision is too far away. So one, build cathedrals, yours or someone else's, that's going to get you the satisfaction in a daily way. Two, have a vision that's bigger than whatever you're doing right now. Define it because if the quote that I really love here is manage conflict or conflict will manage you. Manage your life or your life will manage you. And when you look at it that way, having a vision is you managing your life. Having no vision is allowing other people's visions. Now you're building someone else's cathedral. Now you're miserable and tired and it's painful to do your every day. But by simply switching it, and saying that this job I don't love is paying for the trip I'm taking in 6 months. And I'm actually starting to save my way out of this job or looking for additional training to get different money and different things. So I'm okay with what I do on a daily basis. I do my best. I help them build their cathedral because I'm actually building my own over here. So no big deal if I feel relatively fruitless over here because all of my fruit is bearing over here. So having a vision, creating that vision, impulsively dreaming about that vision, and then three, breaking that vision down every day, every week, looking at it, put it at the end of your bed, looking at that thing because it's a poster. You clip out pictures and get very visual. It's a collage, look into vision planning. Maybe we'll do a vision planning thing for everyone. But to break it down into the ABCs, what's most actionable and most important, and taking action on those things. And a lot of the version board at the beginning is just figuring out that these things aren't that far away. But we tend to think things are farther away than they are because we haven't done the research on truly how much things cost. So we're going to run into deal talk. This is another chapter from Money People Deal. Get the audiobook, listen to Stefan read it to you. And until next time, guys, we're going to do another chapter next week. We'll catch you on the next training. We're going to go to the deal talk on the other side.